Hello, everyone, and welcome to our live question and answer session, as well as a demo session for the National Employee Experience Transformation Program. So this session has been arranged really to give all of you a sense of what to expect from this program. I know some of you have already signed up, and thank you for doing so. And some of you are curious about what this program can do for you and your companies. So today is the day that we're going to go through all of the details, and I'm glad that all of you could join us for this session. So please allow me to share my screen as I walk you through this program. And as the screen is getting set up, please, if you have any questions, do direct them to our team. The Engage Rocket team is on standby in the Q&A box as well as in the chat to address your questions. So if you have a question about the program or about anything at all, or even about Engage Rocket, please do put them in the Q&A. And if you'd like to speak with others and have a conversation with them while on this webinar, please feel free to go ahead and use the chat function. So a quick introduction. My name is Chitong. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Engage Rocket. We're the fastest growing people analytics software company based here in Southeast Asia. Our team is primarily based in Singapore, but we serve the Southeast Asian region and beyond. To bring you this next program, we are very proud to collaborate with the IHRP as well as the SHRI to put together this national program. It's our second national campaign to be able to track how your employee experience has been evolving in your company coming to 1 year into the pandemic. Not only are we going to help you measure and improve your team experience and well-being for free, this is a complimentary program. We are also going to walk you through some of the critical resources at the organizational level, at the manager level, and also at the individual level, which you can share with your different teams in your companies. To bring you some of that content is our knowledge partner, Thrive HR Exchange, a community of HR professionals based here in Singapore. So to talk a little bit about what Next is, it is a evolution from our first national program last year. So in 2020, just 1 week after the advent of the circuit breaker here in Singapore, we launched the People Continuity Package, which covered about 150 odd companies participating at that time. And we helped businesses to navigate the circuit breaker. So at that time, many companies were shifting towards a work from home environment for the first time for some of them in their history. And definitely for the scale at which that shift happened, I don't think any company, with the exception of a very small few, had ever undergone that in as short a period of time. So we provided the data at the national level and also at the organizational level to help them navigate the sentiment, how their people were feeling, and how their organizations were faring compared to other organizations in Singapore. We put together a report, The Resilience of the Singapore Workforce, which I'm sure many of you have already read and gotten some insight from. As we've seen, the pandemic has really accelerated change for us. And as always within Engage Rocket, the way we look at this change is by looking at the data that has come through. So from last year, we found that 36% of employees felt less productive while working from home as working in the office. But a good amount of them started increasing in their comfort levels from working from home. And I'm pretty sure today, many of you are dialing in from home, or even if you're dialing in from the office, you do interact a lot with colleagues who are based at home as well, or even in other regions. Another surprising finding at that time was that more than 80% of people were keen to continue working from home even after the pandemic, at least half of the time. So 2 to 3 days a week was a very common frequency that was shared through this survey. So we found that it created changes in the workplace and new challenges for leaders. So new ways of working and connecting, new skills to master, and a new pace of change and adaptation. And in fact, we found that there were three key trends that we saw from the study. The first one is that hybrid workplaces will persist, at least in the medium term. I think this is no surprise to many of you. Distributed workplaces will continue to be the norm. And as we go through this period, there is a sense of disconnect, a sense of our culture getting fragmented, a sense of the employee experience becoming compromised, which we need to guard against. For many of us who are bringing on new employees or new team members, how do we onboard them effectively while remote? How do we understand what they are feeling? How do we understand how they are taking to the new workplace is something that has come up for many companies that we've spoken with. And also, what are some of the early warning indicators that we can put in place now that we're not seeing people and have the ability to read non-verbal signals in the workplace? How do we build for ourselves early warning indicators that things are not quite going as well as they should be, and therefore, as HR, as leadership, we can take action to prevent some of the possible crises that might take place. The second big trend that we've seen is really around reskilling and restructuring. There is a new need for leaders to manage differently in an environment where you need to uh, adopt hybrid working, remote as well as on-site employees. The need to communicate and engage effectively with hybrid teams is something that is a new skill set for many leaders. Being able to articulate clearly the goals and the objectives of your teams so that you can inspire and motivate them to do what needs to be done, as well as to align them. Are skills that existed pre-pandemic, but were easier to do when you were in person with many of these teams. So these new skills are just the soft skills that are required. In terms of the hard skills, getting used to new forms of technology at work, being able to adapt to different structures of the organization, as some functions will decrease in prominence and other functions suddenly become extremely critical to the survival of the business. And finally, mental health is so critical for many of us who are experiencing a blurring of boundaries between our personal and professional lives. In HR as well, we're taking on responsibilities for no longer just in the office during office hours, but now extended to the home office and at all working hours and all hours of the day. We are now responsible for thinking about how we can enable our staff and our team members to bring their best selves to work and to avoid burnout and enable work-life integration. So how do we balance this care for our employees while avoiding a culture of entitlement where some might assume that the company is responsible for their own well-being, even outside the workplace? So this is the National Employee Experience Transformation Program that we are talking about. Essentially, it taps into the core idea that the employee experience and what we're going through today in the workplace isn't a revolutionary change from what we've seen and the trends that we've seen over the past 5 years in the what at that time was considered the future of work. So the move towards digitalization, the move towards asynchronous communication, the move towards the ability to have always on uh, uh, systems that allow us to sense how our work, the health of our workplace is something that we've been talking about for years prior to COVID-19. And I think what the pandemic has done is really accelerated a lot of those changes for us. So this year, we collaborated with the IHRP, SHRI, Thrive HR Exchange, as well as psychologists and top leaders to put together a questionnaire that allows you to analyze all kinds of different aspects of your workplace and the employee experience as pertaining to the changes that we're going through today. So things around, like key questions around mental health, around productivity of our staff, around their new skills development, employee engagement and culture. So uh, these are questions that have been expertly designed so that you don't have to struggle and rack your brains on figuring out how your workforce is responding across all of these dimensions to the pandemic. And it's very timely as we are reaching the first year anniversary of the circuit breaker that we're launching this program to support you to take a year-on-year look at your workforce. The process is really easy. I'm going to walk through some of what you can do later and all you need to do to get started. You have lots of guides and templates to be able to help you to get started. We've seen companies signing up and getting themselves started within less than an afternoon. Some might take a little bit longer to ensure that they're sending the surveys to the right people in their organizations. But once that is done, a lot of the invitations and reminders is taken care of within the Engage Rocket platform. So you don't have anything to worry about. You set it and you forget it, because this is all automated for you in terms of the exact templates and how those emails are going to be sent. You'll be able to find those in the guides. A lot of the questions and the drivers or the categories of questions, these have already been pre-selected by HR experts and leaders in the industry. You're able to preview the survey as well. So you can access the survey previews on the next sign up and registration page. Or if you want to do it right now, you can actually scan this QR code and walk through the questions on your mobile phone. So this is all mobile optimized. There are 41 questions in total, which will take no more than 4 to 5 minutes of your employee's time to complete. Just going back one slide. So one of the key advantages of a program like this is that beyond just getting the right survey questions for an exercise like this, and beyond getting the expertise at the national level from the best brains in the business thinking about these things, you also get access to the Engage Rocket platform. So you'll be able to see instantly the dashboards for your company with real-time insights and the ability to slice and dice the data by teams or departments, as they say, by age groups, as well as by seniority levels. So we'll have all of this data available to you on your Engage Rocket dashboard for the duration of this program. And of course, national benchmarks across all the different industries. We have the largest consistent data set of pandemic-related employee experience questions in Singapore. And this is something that your companies will be able to benefit from while participating in Next. So you'll be able to see how you're faring on all of these different dimensions within the dashboards on Engage Rocket. So suffice to say, like, there are a lot of good reasons for you to sign up. This is a community initiative from Engage Rocket to support the business community as we transform our employee experience into the future. And it's entirely free and complimentary. You get to measure your employee experience and well-being at no cost. It gives you the opportunity and gives your employees the opportunity to share their feedback and suggestions at their workplace anonymously so that we can take action on that. You have your own private analytics dashboard so that you can identify problem areas within the organization and nip them in the bud before they become more problematic. And finally, of course, access to the most comprehensive national benchmark on the state of the workplace and the employee experience. So you can apply for free if you haven't already by scanning this QR code or going to this link. If you search for employee experience Engage Rocket Singapore, you'll also get access to that page. There's a very simple step-by-step guide as well that can take you through. It takes you literally less than 43 seconds to sign up. And from there, our team will be able to get in touch with you on any next steps that you need to take. So yeah, don't hesitate. This is something that you can register right now. But if you're still wanting to find out more, which is why we've joined this webinar, I'm going to cover some frequently asked questions as well. So these are just some questions that companies have asked us as we've gone along. So as you're signing up or as you're filling in the registration forms, you might be concerned, like, are there any hidden fees? Do I need to put credit card details or anything? I mean, the happy response to that is no. This is entirely free. There's no hidden fees. Engage Rocket and our partners, nobody is receiving any kickbacks or any remuneration for this. This is something that is a community initiative of ours. And it's really to help Singapore to build the largest source of nationally relevant and comparable data for the employee experience. This is something that will emerge as a report again to be able to trend some of the data that we're seeing from last year into this year and to see how the workplace has been changing. Some might be concerned if you've just run a survey recently, say a month or two ago, you might be worried about running another survey with your employees so soon. So what we have seen in our customers is that the best practice is that actually these pulse surveys can be run quarterly to allow for better resolution in the data and better understanding of how the workforce is changing over a period where the business environment is changing extremely rapidly. It's also very short and very easy to take. So there's almost zero admin work that's required for you. And for those of you who are implementing ongoing action plans from previous surveys, this is actually a really good opportunity to benchmark the success of those action plans. How are you doing? What's the success of those plans as you've been implementing them? What is working well that we can double down on? And what's not working so well that maybe we should cut out or stop? And for those of you who don't yet have action plans, which I find hard to believe, you can also create new ones from the data that you're getting within this survey. If you do need a little bit more time, if you're interested in this but do want to run this a little bit later, this is something that please do reach out to the Engage Rocket team and we'll try our best to accommodate. And then finally, I mean, we're all conscious of personal data and the PDPA, and we're very worried about whether our data is confidential and secure. And this Engage Rocket takes this very, very seriously. So there are two different levels of security of our data that we uphold. The first level is what we call a confidentiality threshold. So in terms of the confidentiality of survey responses, this is something that we take very seriously, and because it affects the quality of data, it's something we are very, very mindful of. So within this survey, any team with fewer than three respondents, their scores will be hidden and will roll up to the next highest team. So this is to prevent any witch hunts or managers who want to single out individuals, and gives individuals the psychological safety that they need to tell the truth in these surveys. Overall, as a company, Engage Rocket is fully PDPA compliant as a data intermediary. So all of our customers, all of participants in Next, you remain as data owners. And you can rest assured that we don't collect any personal identifiable information or PII. Only business contact information is collected from your employees. So there's no mobile phones, addresses, or anything personal about your employees that we will need to collect. All of the data is stored locally within Amazon Web Services. And already we have several government and financial institutions with very high security standards who trust Engage Rocket already as customers and as participants in 2020. So I'm going to pause here. If there are any questions that might come through on Q&A, please do go ahead and put that in. And while I go through how the survey would look like, so for those of you who have signed up already, or rather who have scanned the QR code earlier, you would see a preview of the questionnaire on your phone. This here is a preview on the desktop, so you can see that these are some of the demographic questions that you can answer, which are very easy to go through. And these are the questions that will be asked when the survey is launched. And once all of this is collected, all of the information here is collected, this then goes into a dashboard that would look very much like this. I hope you can see my screen. Where as an administrator, you're actually going to be able to go through the overall scores. In this case, you wouldn't really see a trend because this is going to be the first time that you're taking the survey. You'll see participation rates, your employee net promoter score, as well as other drivers where around like mental health, organizational support, productivity, and so on. And the best part is that you're also going to be able to deep dive into all of these individual questions to see how they look like. So in terms of the score distribution versus across all of the different scales, like how many percentage of the respondents have given 5s, 4s, 3s, 2s, and 1s. I've got a question from Lena, which I'm happy to. Oh, okay. Thanks for responding, Navid. Yes, the short answer is yes. You can slice and dice the data, so I'm just going to dive straight into that here, where basically you're going to be able to select the departments for comparison, and even the age groups within the department. So we have a very powerful analytics engine within the Engage Rocket platform where you're going to be able to compare segments, and you can slice the data. For example, all of the millennials within the operations department, how did they fare on all of these different aspects of the employee experience? And if there's a view that you particularly like that you want to visualize differently, either using, for example, like Tableau, or if you want it on a different platform, you can download that segment results in Excel to be able to do further visualizations. All participants will also get access to an advanced analytics engine, which allows you to not only identify what are the lowest scoring questions and drivers, but which of these drivers actually matter the most to your employee base, particularly in respect to employee engagement and loyalty. So over here, you'll be able to see an impact analysis chart, which is essentially a multiple regression analysis that's run on all of the different drivers that are being tested to give you an indication of which drivers are the most high impact on your employees and which are lower impact. So for example, you'll find here that culture, even though it scores slightly higher than employee engagement and voice, has a higher impact on your workplace than employee engagement and voice. So if you were to just focus on the lowest driver, it may not be the best ROI on your efforts. You might want to focus more on the high impact driver like culture and improve that to see a better improvement in employee loyalty and employee engagement. And over here, of course, you can go through and see like deep dive into each of the different questions as well to give you a sense of the key areas of concern within your organization. So this is the sign up page for those of you who haven't signed up yet. It's actually really simple. You can click on apply now. Once you go to the sign page, there's a video as well that you can watch that summarizes what we've gone through today. The different questionnaires formats are here, so you can see the preview of the questionnaire on your mobile at this link, and the PDF version is also available on the page. There are other success stories and case studies that are available on the website. And the application process is super easy. You just need to key in these different fields, and you'll get access to the program straight away. Now, this is a sneak preview to all of you who have joined us today, which is besides the Pulse survey. I think a very important component is what are we going to do after the Pulse survey. And this is where you'll get exclusive access to a resource library, which Engage Rocket has put together in collaboration with our partners. And these are all interviews, webinars, resources that you can use at the organizational level to find out what other companies have done to use the data and improve their employee experience. You get the report from last year as well, and you'll be able to also access resources for organizations, the individuals, and the managers. So there's lots of videos, checklists, templates, how-to guides that you can access on this page. It's extremely rich, and we do also invite you to join our masterclasses, which we hold weekly. And these masterclasses also enable you to earn IHRP CPD points when you attend them. Okay, so that actually brings me to the end of our sharing. I'm gonna take questions now while I'm gonna leave this on the screen. So are there any questions that you may have for all of you who are attending that I can address? Don't have to be shy. You can put it as an anonymous question in Q&A, or you can ask a question directly in the chat. All right. If there are no questions, I do have one question for you. You're going to see another way to sign up very easily is if you don't want to go through the form and you want somebody to personally walk you through. If you can see a question appear, a poll appear on your screen now. You can respond if you're keen to have someone on our team reach out to you to walk you through this personally, please do answer yes and we'll get in touch. Okay, so I've got a question. If I'm unable to run the survey on 17th, which is tomorrow, when will be the next run date? Actually, this is something that we are very open to. So we're working together with all the companies that have this concern to be able to trigger the survey at a later month. So all of this will be triggered within the second quarter. But essentially, if you have a preference, please do reach out to our team and indicate that to them, and we can accommodate that request accordingly. Or rather, we will try our best to accommodate that request. Basically, the deadline for registering is the end of this month. I learned that participating companies can customize survey questions. So the companies that participate and can customize survey questions, these are the existing customers, like paying customers of Engage Rocket. For those who are joining as part of the complimentary program, you will not be able to customize those survey questions. If you're keen to ask very specific questions for your organization, please do reach out to our team as well. I will be happy to share with you some of the different options available to you. Thanks for the questions. I'm glad they're coming in. Okay, for those of you who don't have any questions, but would still like to get in our team to get in touch with you to walk you through personally. Just a final call to put in a yes on the poll that is in front of you so that our team can be aware and notified to get in touch with you. All right, I hope that addresses all the questions. I'm going to open this up for a final call before I end this webinar. Final call for questions. If there are no further questions, then I do hope to see all of you as participants to the next program. This is indeed a unique opportunity to be involved in a nationwide program around employee experience, to be able to benchmark all of the efforts that you've put in over the past 12 months to improve the lives of your people as they've gone through massive changes. So I hope to see all of you soon on the program. And until then, thank you very much for those who have voted that yes, for our team to get in touch. We will be in touch with you really soon. Thank you all for your time this afternoon, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.